Unless you're so remote that you live under a rock, you know that there was a pretty important election like 2 weeks ago. Now, don't worry, I'm not actually going to get into politics or start talking about him. There are plenty of other people doing that. What I am gonna do is use this as an opportunity to show you how you can build amazing superpowers that make you awesome at your job. Let's set the scene with a fascinating clip that got cut from the last episode of Out of Office in Colorado. Get a load of what Isaac said.
I want an AI president. I want.
You want an AI president?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, look at the options we've had for the past few years. I'd love to have an AI president.
It's a wild thought, isn't it? I mean, who had AI president on their 2028 bingo card? Now, other people have considered the concept of AI leaders before, but Isaac is the first person I've ever heard that not only takes it seriously, but genuinely made a case for it being better for the human race than having any actual human in charge. And he has a point. An AI president would have superpowers. They would have infinite intelligence. They would be able to digest complex information instantly, have 17 conversations at once, and work literally 24/7 without inconvenient stuff like eating or sleeping or getting sick or needing to have a personal life. No matter where your alliances are, that is more than any human candidate will ever be able to do. And all of those things could lead to the most effective president that we've ever had. But it's not hard to see that it could backfire too. There are risks, and those risks are probably the only thing that stand between us and that kind of reality. So the question is, which risks should be deal breakers? Which risks are kind of manageable if we put the right things in place? And which risks are worth accepting because the pros outweigh the cons? This line of thought progression leads to some really important questions that can add a lot of value in your day-to-day life too, even though you're not the one waking up in the White House. This is episode 76 of Out of Office, the bi-weekly video series by remote workers for remote workers, seen by over 40 million people. I'm Andrew Allen, and while the concept of an AI president might seem irrelevant to remote work, it is not. It is just a higher stakes table playing the exact same game that we are, and we can learn a lot from looking at what they're doing. Nothing has more potential to positively impact your work more in the next few years than the wave of AI that's about to hit. And because of the speed that it's hurtling towards all of us, there's an increasing overlap between the concepts, factors, and questions that are important for remote workers in this era, and the ones that are important for really high-stakes world issues from politics to poverty to pollution. No matter how you feel about AI, the wave is coming, and it's gonna affect you. So, in Isaac's words...
So there's a lesson in there, which is surf the wave.
So whether you're the leader of the free world or an accountant, you heard it. We all have to learn how to surf that wave. So how do we do that? Well, the good news is you are already an expert at what you do, right? You ride the wave by becoming an expert in all of the use cases for applying AI to your field. That means the good, the bad, the obvious, the ridiculous, all of it, all of that detail. So start by becoming a sponge. You need to listen and learn everything that you can from the smartest people in your field that are doing interesting shit with AI. Read their long essays, reply to their tweets, critique their shortcomings. You want to really dig into the details and form strong opinions on exactly where and how AI can add the most value to your workflow without compromising your standards. And that starts by documenting 3 important questions. First, how do we prevent deal breakers? Everyone can agree that we should not have an AI president if they hurt civilians, or tank the economy, or give out the nuclear codes to anyone who asks really nicely. In your field, it's probably a lot simpler. Like, we don't want to break the law, we don't want to bankrupt the company, and we don't want to produce crappy stuff that no one wants. But don't get stuck in the details there. You don't need to solve all of the deal breakers before you move on. That's a trap because coming up with the perfect preventative measures isn't going to happen overnight. So come back to that later and add the detail that you need. But for now, just write down the big stuff that must never happen and move on. Because the next part is more complex. And that question is, what are the right priorities? This question is the difference between knowing how to play chess and knowing how to win. for a powerful AI to really add value to the president or to you, it has to be capable of making the choices that will lead to the best possible outcome. And there are a lot of complex factors that have to be weighed up in order to do that. So you gotta start documenting them. It needs to be able to balance factors like short-term need versus long-term goals, quality versus efficiency, opportunity versus risk. It has to successfully navigate all of the minefields where there are opposing viewpoints and competing priorities and scarce resources. And this means you need to document the most important factors and priorities that you balance as a subject matter expert to make good decisions in your field. Emphasis on most important, okay? So don't overcomplicate this. You don't need to list every single factor right off the bat. Ask yourself for now, which ones are the most important? I like to limit myself to 3 in a first draft. And remember, this is not for objective questions like what is 2 + 2? Those are easy. This is for the really hairy subjective stuff, like what should I wear tonight? As an example, the factors that I would pick for that decision might be what I'm doing tonight, who I'm gonna see, and what I want that person to think of me. So defining the most important factors for picking an outfit is really easy, okay? Defining them for being a good president, almost unfathomably complex. But the good news is you are not the president. Your work is important, and I'm sure it's complicated too, so is mine, but it is probably possible for you to define the most important decisions and factors that make up the core of your job on one piece of paper. And so you should do it now, today, because this is gonna be the beginning of your secret weapon, and it's gonna get there really soon. This is going to make your outputs in the AI age better than any of your peers, and that is a bankable skill. Which leads us to the third and most important question for your documentation, and that is, where is human input essential? We all know AI is good at some tasks and bad at others, right? Of course. I mean, that is the Jagged Frontier, which is continually moving, and it is different from one task to another. So your job is to figure out how to hack it for your own success. You want to leverage AI to become unbeatably efficient at what you do, and then add your human expertise to offset the areas where its quality falls short of yours. Over time, this means that you're distilling your human energy into the specific parts of your job that a human just does best. Things like originality, challenging a bad instruction, or identifying how many R's are in the word strawberry. This is gonna evolve a lot over time, right? As AI capabilities improve and as you fine-tune the system by adding detail, closing loopholes, and fixing anything else that stands in between you and your AI tools, making you the best in the entire world at what you do. That'll take time, so it pays to pick up your pen and start paddling now. My parting thought for you is this: the best thing that you can do to future-proof your job in this coming AI era is to obsess over quality. If you know how to define 10 out of 10 quality for any task, AI in your hands will be able to produce 10 out of 10 quality in record time. But if you're only capable of producing 6 out of 10 quality, well, anyone can do that, so I really hope you're good at something else. Food for thought. I'm Andrew Allen, and the future of work is out of office.